I know when you read the title of this vlog, some people might have freaked out, like, what in the world are you talking about? Well, when I say I don't love my wife, I'm not talking about the biblical definition of love, but really more of the idea of today's modern concept of love. You see, there's been a lot of talk about marriage recently. What is the definition of marriage? You know, man, woman, man, woman, all that type of stuff. And I think it's good that we're talking about that, but even beyond that, I think we need to talk more also about what is the purpose of marriage. You know, it's sad when we hear that 50% of marriages in America eventually end up in divorce, which means if you're married right now or even thinking about getting married, there's a possibility of 1 in 2 that you're going to fail. That's a scary statistic that's out there. Now, I think a lot of the reason why we get to that place is because we don't understand our roles in marriage and what marriage is really for. So I want to talk just for a second about our role as husbands, as men in marriage. The Bible tells us basically just a couple of things, 3 very simple things that we are called to do and to live out in marriage. And the first one is men are supposed to love their wives. Now again, I said I don't always love my wife, but what I mean by that is the world has this idea of, well, we broke apart because we didn't love each other anymore. What they really mean is we didn't feel infatuated. We didn't have butterflies in our tummy every time that the person walked in. You know, we didn't get our hearts racing all of the time. Well, the truth is there's always going to be new demands in marriage. You know, with me and my wife, we have 3 kids at home. We're both in ministry. You know, we have a lot of demands on us. And to be totally honest, not every single day do we have this feeling of absolute infatuation like we did when we were engaged or when we were dating. That doesn't mean we don't love each other. See, the American consumerism concept is basically, I'm a slave to my feelings. If I don't feel like going to my job anymore, then I shouldn't go to my job. No, then you won't have any money. If you don't feel like going to your job, go to your job and figure out what those feelings mean and, you know, figure out how to act on it. It's the same idea when it comes to marriage. In the Bible, Ephesians chapter 5 says husbands are to love their wives even as Christ loved the church. That word agape is a verb. It means to do things. We are to act on love. Love isn't a feeling. It's not an emotional output. Love is a decision that we make of how we act towards our wives. Not only are we to love our wives, but we're also to lead our wives. You know, in Genesis, we see that God set man as the head of the household. Now, head does not mean that we are totalitarian over our wives. The woman was not created from the head of man to be a lord over him. She wasn't created from the foot of man for him to step on her. She was created from his side so that they could lead side by side together. You know, man and woman are supposed to be together in this. Head simply means this: the ultimate responsibility for what happens in the family and what happens in the relationship is on you. We lead by example. We lead our wives into being better people, into the direction that God is calling us to go as a family by our example in how we show our love towards them. And the third thing that men are to do is we're to lead. No, I said lead. We're to lift. There we go. It's my first vlog. Give me a break. But we're supposed to lift our wives up. You know, that has to do with the words that we say towards them, being gracious towards them, speaking over them, speaking their destiny, speaking over them on who they're called to be, on what they're called to do. We are called to love our wives. We're called to lead our wives. We're called to lift up our wives. I think if men would step up in doing what they're called to do in a marriage relationship, we'd see more marriages saved. We'd see more marriages actually living out God's calling on the couple into becoming all that He's called them to be. So do I always feel love towards my wife? No, but I will always love my wife. I love her every day because I don't feel my way into obedience. I obey my way into feelings. We got to get that.